ESPN Speed World welcomes you to Buchanan, Michigan Redbud Track and Trail as we get set for round 6 of the AMA 250cc Outdoor Motocross Series. Hello, everyone. I'm John Kern, along with former motocross champion David Bailey. And, David, we're at the midway point of the season. It looks like the championship battle is down to 2 guys.
That's right. Jeff Emig and Jeremy Mcgrath are way out ahead in the points battle. Mike LaRocco, who would have been a threat, the defending champion, broke down in the first round, and then he broke his arm, so way out of the points. Also, Greg Albertine, who looked very strong in the first round, broke his front wheel, way out of the points as well. Then Doug Henry with that horrible crash in Maryland. Probably out for the entire season now, so they've really been left out there to battle all alone.
Now, LaRocco has returned. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He's out of it as far as the championship is concerned for himself, but he can be a factor.
Well, I think so. The first moto back, he hole-shotted and led wire to wire, so he's got the speed to go up there and possibly get between Jeff Emig and Mcgrath and really stir up the points.
Now, what about Doug Henry? You've spoken with him. How's he doing?
Well, much better. The last time we talked about Doug, he was still in intensive care. He had just had an operation. Now he's home and walking and enjoying his time off.
Well, that's great to hear about Doug. We're getting set for round 6. Let's take a look at the track.
Well, this track is one of the longest ones we're going to see all season long. There's a couple of new sections which we're going to highlight for you. Down there to the left, they run out across fresh grass, and then on that triple jump, you see down there towards the bottom, that's a lot of air time. The riders are going to be collecting a few more frequent flyer miles this week.
Well, Jeremy Mcgrath is getting set, the current points leader, leading Jeff Emig, who finally, last week, got his first outdoor national win in the 250s. He managed to cut only 2 points off. Mcgrath 208, Emig 197. That's an 11-point advantage. And what's this back in the pits? Looks like they're working on Jeff Emig's bike, putting it back together, getting things ready. Apparently, Jeff with a slight problem in practice, but fortunately for him, came at the end. Let's see what Jeff has to say about it.
You know, I was having a good practice, second practice. Last lap of practice, we had a little bit of problems with the engine. And I guess fortunately, we had the problem on the last lap of the last practice rather than the first lap of the first moto. So.
Yeah, it looks like it could be more than just a little problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they'll get it fixed, and back up and running. I know that that my mechanic or nobody's going to let me down at my favorite racetrack.
Well, he's coming off his first national win, so he's got to be pretty excited about that. And you just heard, he loves this place. He's done well here in the past. The last thing he needs to be worrying about is if that engine is going to run the same as what he had before he had the problems. So he'll just have to keep his fingers crossed, I guess.
Well, there you see Jeff taking a little bit of time out before we get set for the start of Moto number 1, signing some autographs and visiting with the fans. They're a big part here, as you can see from that shot there. A lot of people camping out. Well, Art Ekman joined us down in the pit area. He's also been roaming around. What you got for us, Art?
Guys, the Redbud tradition is enhanced by the fact it's held on an extended holiday weekend each year. Of course, the record number of fans came to see the pros in action, but it's the campground fun that also makes this more than just a race.
It's crazy.
About the waves, man.
The waves. Lake Michigan, we come up in jet ski too, it's the whole weekend. There ain't just one event. It's the whole weekend, We don't even sleep, you miss too much when you sleep.
Brought the couch, we got the kitchen sink, we got everything.
It's about 50 people now altogether that come together. Yeah, some of the people like over here that on this side, we met here like 3 years ago. Actually, one of our trucks broke down and they helped us fix it, and that's how we met them. The people over there we just knew from home. It's just been getting bigger and bigger every year. We've been coming here for 10 years, and we started out with just a little pickup truck and a tent right next to it. Now we bring the whole works, fence it off, set up the volleyball and that, keep everybody else separate from us so we can have our own little space here.
Come to watch the pros, because we go to Detroit Supercross and Indianapolis, so we come to watch the pros on Sunday. We just come for the camping and parties on Saturday night.
Here we are, Barry. We're on.
Redbud 95.
Right here.
Red Butters.
This is it right here.
So what do you think? Are those press-on tattoos are the real thing?
No, I think they're sporting plenty of ink there. Let's just hope they remember where they parked their car later.
I can't believe you said that. We are getting set for the start of Moto number 1. This marks the midway point of the season. Back with the start after this. We're getting set for the start of Moto number 1 here at Redbud Track and Trail. There's Greg Albertine, the 3-time world motocross champion. Art Ekman down in the pits. David Bailey and John Kernan up here in the booth. Those are the two guys contending for the points championship this year. Of course, Jeff Emig coming off his first ever 250cc outdoor national win. That closed the gap to 11 points from Mcgrath. Kudrowski is sitting alone in third, but he's going to have some company from Albertine, who's only 12 points back. And John Dowd stands in fifth after the 5th round. Certainly looks like it is going to be a two-rider battle to the end. There's the gate. It drops. Moto number 1 is underway.
Looks like Jeremy Mcgrath gets the hole shot, followed by Emig. Those are the two riders we just highlighted for you, but LaRocco squeezes in there.
A nice move by LaRocco coming in from the outside. Jeremy out in front, and I've said it a lot this season. Once he gets off to a good start, he is hard to catch, and he's already put a little bit of space between himself and LaRocco.
You see they watered the track there, and it's really difficult to pick lines. The whole center of the track there is all muddy, and the guys are either going extreme outside or the extreme inside. And right now, Mcgrath leading the way. He pulled the tearaway on that big jump there, and just wanted to get a little bit clearer vision. He figures he's not going to need all those tearaways now.
Looks like Kudrowski also got off to a pretty good start. I think I counted him along in about the 5th or the 6th spot. But up front, Jeremy Mcgrath up the hill. A nice jump, and look at Jeff Emig side by side. I guess that was with his teammate John Dowd.
Looked like John Dowd, and it looked like John Dowd might have had the better line going to the corner, but Emig still holds on to the spot.
Jeff Emig moving into that 3rd spot. Of course, he's thinking points right now, and Jeremy Mcgrath is at the point. You don't get many more points than that. In fact, that's the limit. He could collect 25 points if he comes away with the win here in Moto number 1.
Well, Jeremy just looks fantastic right now. He's hitting all the lines just right. He's wheeling over the right bumps. He looks relaxed. He's even put a little style into everything, and he's going to have to ride like that because number 1, LaRocco, the defending champion, hasn't won here in front of his hometown crowd. He battled with Kudrowski last year. They had a little bit of a heated discussion at the end of one of those motos, and you can bet he's going to be a threat here today.
Well, now Emig sweeps along on the inside, tries to carry LaRocco out. He could have easily taken LaRocco out with that move, but he backed it off, allowed LaRocco to keep the position.
Well, you know, in the first lap, sometimes a move like that, he could have gone down also in that same little exchange. So possibly just trying to let things sort themselves out, not make a stupid move like that. If he was to go down right here, he'd probably drop 10, 15 spots in this first lap.
Oh, there's that jump. Look at that. They really fly up there, don't they?
There was only a few riders last year that were able to clear all the way up over that. It's a double jump, but then there's another little rise beyond the top. So they kind of turn it into a triple, and all of them are doing it this year.
Is that simply horsepower or the line and getting the right traction coming off the setup for the jump?
It's pretty much all that. a little bit of nerve, and you know, the right line coming out of the corner, the right drive, and everybody seems to be hooking up good today, and they're getting the speed they need to do it.
There's the green flag, 1 lap complete, and a tight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look at that, Damon Bradshaw is also in there among the top 5 as he's following John Dowd.
Right, he's got the start he needs. Last week he got involved in a first lap scuffle, and it ruined his bike, and he didn't even finish the first moto. And you see Skip Norfolk pumped up and giving his rider a little incentive right there. He's got the former national champion breathing down his neck now, and I don't think he wants LaRocco to learn anything from Jeremy. He wants Jeremy to go away and hide.
Well, we saw John Dowd there. What a heartbreak for him. He was in position to get the overall at Southwick, but had that problem with the shock late in Moto number 2. Take a look at the Suzuki Field summary for the top 10. We'll be back with more from Redbud after this. Nearing the midway point here, Moto number 1. There's Jeff Emig. He's gotten around LaRocco. That means he's moved into the 2nd spot. Jeremy Mcgrath still up front. So he's gained 2 points, or I shouldn't say gain. Now, if it stays this way, he'll only lose 3 points. Look at Damon Bradshaw battling now with his teammate John Dowd, and he moves in to that spot, which would be number 4.
So I like that line. Yeah, you see he just motored around the outside. Well, when you get past on the outside, you got to pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe John Dowd will be able to learn a little bit from Damon and hopefully stay in contact with these leaders.
LaRocco looking at the back of Jeff Emig. Emig is riding along in the 2nd spot. Man, I'm impressed with the crowd here. It is an absolutely beautiful 4th of July weekend up here in Michigan, and the fans have come out in droves to enjoy some great racing action.
One thing I can tell you is that it's hot, and these guys are going to pay the price. Maybe not this moto, but at the end of the 2nd moto. There's the airtime. Look at that.
Whoa. What do you say about that? I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, we'll get to see it plenty, I'm sure. They get to rest up there. You're up in the air so long. You notice guys pulling tearaways. That's the only time you really can do that. The rest of the time you're worried about the soil and hitting the right line and staying in the right berm. And now look at Bradshaw, who's really closed in on LaRocco and on Emig. So Bradshaw up to speed this week.
Well, LaRocco's wrist still very, very sore. Of course, after Southwick said it was very sore, and I'm sure it still is this weekend. Jeremy Mcgrath, look at the distance. I didn't get a clock going, but, man, he is pulled away from Jeff Emig.
Oh, I'd say that's about 5 seconds, 4 to 5 seconds. And Mcgrath, as he came off that jump, you heard him just run the throttle wide open in the air. When he landed, he just left a skid mark, and he's so aggressive. He didn't let off all the way through there, and that's that aggressive riding that we see. I keep alluding to the Supercross, but that's where he has so much success, and now that's starting to come to the outdoors where he's got a lot more confidence and fitness to go the distance.
Well, Jeff Emig trying to chase down Jeremy Mcgrath after he got around LaRocco. He is holding steady at second. Let's check into his pits.
Steve, LaRocco's little slip allowed your guy Jeff Emig to get in front, but he's still got a battle on his hands from number 1 right behind him.
Yeah, Jeremy's in his usual style, trying to get out and run away. I'm kind of hoping that Jeff and LaRocco don't battle too much to where Mcgrath might get away a little more, because I guess you can't really afford to let him do that. So I'm hoping Jeff can pull away from LaRocco and maybe slowly reel in Jeremy.
The support race proved that once you get it in front here, if you don't make mistakes, it's not that hard to pull away.
Yeah, the track's kind of smooth because they graded a lot of the ruts in, so seems like they're all going about the same speed right now.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. The track isn't really that rough. It'll get rougher in the second moto in some of these tight sections. Those ruts right there will get real choppy coming out, so choosing the right one will be important. But for the most part, the track is pretty wide open, and what that means basically is if there was a privateer, let's say, that it's not capable of running the pace these guys say at a track like Southwick, he could run this pace for a while. Then mistakes eventually would get the better of him because these guys don't make many. But
oh, there's a mistake right there. Jeff Emig got a little too close to the tree, touched it with the handlebar, and just like that, LaRocco moves around into second place.
Well, I hope I didn't jinx him. Gosh, right when I said it. That's a tough section right there because the berm, early in practice when it's kind of muddy, the riders, they don't want to drift off into that off-camber, so they go real close to the tree, and that's where the berm ends up. So you brush your shoulder through there just about every lap. I know I've brushed mine there a few times. You're going to see he hit his shoulder on the tree, and luckily he had his fingers on the clutch. All the riders these days ride with their finger on the clutch all the way around the racetrack. They never take their finger off it, and right there it paid off.
Well, LaRocco has gotten around, and now we look a little bit further back. That's John Dowd who's being pursued by Greg Albertine. This should be a battle for the 5th spot. Albie riding along in 6th, Dowd in 5th, trying to get it away, but Dowd gets on the gas just a little bit sooner, up over the jump. Oh, man, what great camel work. This is just amazing. I love it. Take a look at the top 10. Find your favorite rider on the Suzuki Field Summary. We'll take a break and be back with more after this. Welcome back to Buchanan, Michigan. Redbud Track and Trail. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and John Kernan. Still, that battle for 5th place continues to be a furious one. John Dowd has it, but right on his rear wheel is Greg Albertine. Oh,
look at that airtime. Oh. That's the most airtime I've seen in a long time on a motocross track. That looks like the kind of stuff we go out and find, in our weeks off in the sand dunes in Glamis or something.
Oh, man, that is just... I could sit there and watch nothing but clips of that all day long. That is just beautiful to watch.
Well, from the rider standpoint, it's fun, too, because that jump is pretty forgiving. If you were to land a little short, it's not like you're going to, really probably, crash or anything. There's not a big jump they have to clear over. It's just actually faster to carry that much more speed up the hill. It looks pretty neat.
Speaking of speed, it looks like Albie might be a little bit faster. Is Dowd holding him up, do you think?
I think so. I think if Albertine can get around, he'll pull away, and I think Dowd knows that, too, and he's just trying to do all that he can to hold him back there, and maybe...
There we go. There's the power by Albertine to the inside. A daring move. Gets alongside Dowd. Just a drag race to the corner. Albie taking the inside line, gets around, and takes over that 5th spot.
Well, that's a pretty aggressive move. I can tell you there wasn't a whole lot of room between Dowd and that fence post going into that corner. Here you're going to see it. Right here when they're side by side, that stack of tires is close, right there. Albertine just able to get into that berm, and now we'll have to see if Dowd can respond and hopefully maybe learn something from Albertine, like I said before, and possibly stay in contact with these leaders.
Back up front, Jeremy Mcgrath continues to lead. Then it's Mike LaRocco, followed by Jeff Emig. Mcgrath last year didn't have a very good time here. He finished 12th overall, and what do we got here? It looks like a couple KT. Yeah, Anthony Amaradio and
That's Jeff DeMint, too, and Amarat
Oh,
throwing
right hand.
punches.
There goes Jeff Curry by. Oh, this is not good good for the two teammates for KTM.
No, this isn't good at all.
Look at the way the bikes wound up. I'm sure they threw him.
I wonder whose bike is on top.
Man.
That guy's going to win, maybe.
Oh, and throws him down. Samaradio on top.
You know, it looks, and there's the AMA official. Boy, this isn't the good. This didn't happen in the woods where nobody saw. So it looked like Amaradio. I was just going to say, number 33. That's DeMint picking his bike up. He just looks like he wants to get back to the action. So I'm going to assume from Amaradio's actions towards the end of that scuffle that he was irritated with something that DeMint may have done to him. So looking to settle the score with his fists.
Well, Mike LaRocco is trying to settle down and chase down Jeremy Mcgrath. He is riding along in this second spot right now. Time now for this week's Suzuki Flashback. We flash back to July 3rd, 1994 on the eve of Independence Day. Some fireworks out on the track.
That was the final lap. Kudrowski had been leading the whole way. LaRocco right there winning. Doesn't realize anything's wrong. Well, Kudrowski's a little bit upset with that move by LaRocco. Launches his bike into him. And hand gesture. Now LaRocco's dad comes over to get between them so it doesn't get too ugly.
Well, that was actually a carryover from Southwick.
Right. Well, Kudrowski felt like he'd been riding safe and polite against his teammate. And when LaRocco made that move on the final lap, he got upset and things got heated up.
And they heated up again early in the second moto as LaRocco takes Kudrowski down again, but Kudrowski rallied for the win in Moto 2 to take the overall. Once again, this is a battle for second place. Jeff Emig is in third. He has his sights set on LaRocco.
And while these two are battling, they've obviously picked up the pace, or Jeremy slowed one because Jeremy's down in the corner right there. He had a pretty big lead early in the race, and apparently it checked out. But right now, these guys are close.
Well, you got to think they've either picked up the pace. Here we go with a little air time for Jeff Emig. And either they've picked up the pace or maybe Jeremy has slowed down a bit just to save himself for the second half of this moto. We are just past the halfway point. Take a look at the top 10 on our Suzuki Field Summary. Back with more action from Redbud after this. Back at Redbud Track Control, Buchanan, Michigan. That battle for second place is still the best battle on the track. Jeff Emig going for it right now to the outside. Does he have the drive coming out of that rut? No. LaRocco holds him off for the time being. Emig, David, is trying everything he can to get around him simply because of the way the points are stacking up.
Right. I'm really impressed with Emig's effort. Down the inside right here through all the mud, cuts across the line.
He just had to slow up too much, didn't he?
Well, he just went a little bit wide. He tried to guess at where LaRocco was going to come out of that corner, and as he started to point out in terms of the points, like we've pointed out before, LaRocco doesn't figure into the championship title because of the races that he missed. So he is affecting the outcome of what's going on in the battle between Emig and Mcgrath. And if he was to finish where he is, Emig's going to drop 5 points rather than just 3 if Emig were to pass LaRocco.
You don't think Steve Butler will go over to Mike Sr. and say, how about putting a signboard out and asking LaRocco to let us get by?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think LaRocco's dad would do it. He's already dubbed Emig as an idiot. He said that last week, said we could quote him on it. So he's nervous, probably biting his fingernails, hoping that Emig doesn't do something weird and take out his son.
Isn't that the way it is? Somebody on your team or your side says something about another rider one week, the next week, you two are battling it out again side by side.
Well, it's competition, that's why they got this big crowd to see this kind of war, and right now they're getting it.
There's Mike Sr. with the stopwatch, checking times, watching his son, Mike Jr., try to hold off Jeff Emig, I should say. I thought Emig might have had a little bit of a problem there. That's why I paused. That's the same spot that he had the problem earlier.
Well, he lost a little bit of time, and it's going to cost him right there. I mean, these guys are all going fast, and I'm impressed to see that Emig has made this jump to the 250s and is really in a position to win this title and is a challenge for these guys. And LaRocco, we've already said, plenty of times, is a lot of times one of the fastest riders on the racetrack, if not all the time. Right here catching Jeremy, and Emig is pressuring him.
Once again, you saw Jeremy going into that turn. LaRocco just a few seconds behind, where at one point I think it was over 5 seconds as far as the lead from Mcgrath, but they've cut into that substantially. Once again, a lot of air time, hang time. They ought to name that the Michael Jordan triple. It has so much air time.
Yeah, that'd be a good name, I guess.
You didn't like that, did you?
No.
I get the feeling you didn't. LaRocco is in second place. Look at the dust starting to kick up from where it's dried out, and that's got to play a little funky things with your vision.
Well, the further back you drop from the rider in front of you, the more that dust plays a role. This looks like the white flag, yep.
Last lap, Mcgrath is in front now. Jeff Emig trying to pick up 2 valuable points. I don't think he's got a chance at winning the moto, but he certainly has a shot at LaRocco to move into the second spot.
Well, in this battle, these two have definitely closed the gap even more on Jeremy. So now Jeremy, you can bet, is glancing over his shoulder.
Well, LaRocco trying to hold off Jeff Emig here on the final lap. Art Ekman is with Mike's father.
The best part of this race is between Mike LaRocco and Jeff Emig. What a dicing job.
Yeah, it is. Jeff's pushing him really hard, and Mike's going to have to smooth out a little bit. He's making a lot of mistakes. It gives Jeff an opportunity to get up there, and Jeff's trying to take it. Let's hope he don't get it.
And, of course, this point in the race, he's got lappers to deal with, too.
Yeah, they all got lappers to deal with, and it's good and bad both ways.
Well, I think for LaRocco and for Emig, it can work either way right there. Doug Boyson doing a good job getting out of the way, number 44. And I think the lappers play a more of a role for Mcgrath, because he's the first rider to catch up to him, and possibly they hold him up a little bit until they realize, oh, he's the leader, and then they get out of the way for everybody else. These guys may have an advantage on Jeremy at this last lap.
Well, that advantage I don't think is going to help him catch. There you see Jeremy Mcgrath just going out of the turn that they're entering. Jeremy, I think, unless he falls or makes a really dumb mistake, is going to win this moto. And if he can win it, that will make 5 moto victories in 11 motos this season, almost 50%. But this is a great battle for second place. Looks like Emmett may be holding back, trying to get one last charge. He's very careful going around the tree, taking that inside line. You notice LaRocco went to the outside of that turn. But Emig, does he have enough time? Can he catch him?
Well, he's got enough time, but I just don't think he's close enough right now.
Well, they are. They're closing in. LaRocco is closing in on Mcgrath, at least it looks like from that angle.
Well, they are all close. They definitely close in on Jeremy. That's pretty surprising. Jeremy probably thought, well, I can take it a little easy in his last couple laps, and all of a sudden he's going, uh-oh, I got to get with it. And you can bet that when he crossed the finish line, he's going to glance back and pray that LaRocco finishes that number 2 spots and give him some more points.
Right now, the point differential for moto number 1 between Mcgrath and Emig would be 5. If Emig can get around LaRocco in these last several hundred feet, then it would only be 3 points that Mcgrath would gain on him, and Emig came in trailing by 11 points.
Well, Bradshaw is still circulating in 4th that we know of, and nowhere in sight. These guys are obviously riding in a league all by themselves.
They're very, very fast. They'll come around. Jeremy Mcgrath looks like he's going to do it. I think he's going to hold on there. See some fans trying to root on Jeff Emig. Checkered flag is out. Here comes Jeremy Mcgrath to the line. I think it was a green bike. Yes, LaRocco's second, and Jeff Emig finishes 3rd. Who would have thought? Jeremy Mcgrath, out of 11 motos this year, has come up with 5 victories. Damon Bradshaw holds on for the 4th spot, and as we get a chance to take a look at the rest of the top 10, Art Ekman is standing by with Jeremy.
What's this breaking up this second moto stuff?
Well, hopefully I can have another great second moto. First moto here, got a great start and went out, and some lappers got in my way. It was a tough track to pass some lappers on, and that helped. I mean, that kind of helped me, but it kind of hurt me when I got up on them.
That really was the story in securing your win, I know. Your mechanic was out there asking for more. Every time he came around, your clipboard said more.
Well, I try and read it. I mean, it's kind of like our sign language, and every motocrosser has one. And I mean, the best thing to do would be obey that, because if you do that, then you probably come out with some good results.
After a while, you don't have much more to give.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Nice run, Jeremy. Good luck in the second moto. Any changes?
No, my Honda's running great, and I'm looking forward to second moto. Hopefully I can have another good one. I've been putting in some good second moto, so I don't feel too bad, and I'm ready to race.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, the Rocket is certainly ready to race. He picks up a second place finish, his second place to go along with 1 moto win. He is with Art.
One heck of a battle for second place, that's for sure. Jeff was on you all the way.
Yeah, actually I got by Jeff early, and I was leading it, and I fell down up there trying to, just messed up really. I was keeping pace with Jeremy, no problem, and I just kind of dropped back, and Jeff got around me, and I got back around me and just kind of followed me in.
How's the track riding up?
It's rutting up really. I mean, there's a lot of ruts out there, but it makes it, a couple different lines. I think it actually makes it good. I made some time up on Jeremy on the end, but I just couldn't really, get alongside him and take the win.
Coming back still from that injury in mind, are you strong for the second moto, do you think?
This is the best I've felt, in the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks I've raced, my hand strength pretty much. I've lost a little, but, I won't have as much recovery to do before the second moto.
Nice run.
Thanks.
Congratulations to Jeremy Mcgrath, winner of Moto number 1 here at Buchanan. We'll be back in just a couple with the start of Moto number 2. Welcome back to Redbud Track and Trail, Buchanan, Michigan. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and John Kernan getting set for the start of Moto number 2. A tight first moto, although Jeremy Mcgrath got the whole shot, went out in front, and led the whole way and came up with the victory.
Well, it was a needed victory. He put 5 more points on his closest contender, Jeff Emig, and I don't know if he could have come from behind and got around LaRocco and Emig. They're running pretty fast pace, and they caught Jeremy in the late stages of the race. And Bradshaw, we just got to look at there, was 4th in that moto. A little bit off the pace, but that's his best ride since, I think, Mount Morris.
There go the RPMs up on the bike as they grab some throttle gate drops. There they go. Let's see who gets the whole shot. Man, it looks like the California go, and there's a problem as it was a green bike, a Kawasaki, that crashes right in the middle of the start, and oh my gosh.
That's LaRocco. I don't believe LaRocco.
Unbelievable. Looked like the clutch lever might have been bent.
His handlebars are bent down.
Yeah,
they're in his lap. It's going to be almost impossible to try to ride good with that.
Oh, what a bad break. LaRocco. This is his 3rd event back after breaking his arm, and look at that Jeff Emig with the whole shot.
Well, there you go. This will be good because this is the battle for the lead, and it's the same way they took off in the first moto, only reversed. Jeremy going to the inside, tries to make an early move.
Well, Jeremy leading right now as it stands. Oh, look at that as he sweeps around. Emig saying, no, I'll have none of that, thank you. But after that first moto, Mcgrath has extended his points lead to 16. So Emig has to stay out in front of him.
Right, well, of course. I mean, even if Jeremy was to beat him, it's not like devastating for Emig. But definitely each time he can finish ahead of Jeremy, it just makes Jeremy worry that much more and try a little harder, possibly take him out of his rhythm and force him into a mistake.
Well, after this moto here, there will only be 12 motos left for Emig to try and catch Mcgrath. It should be tight the rest of the way. Both of these riders have been very consistent. Emig, over the year, worst finish has been a 5th overall, while Mcgrath a 6th overall at Hangtown.
And Bradshaw, another pretty good start. Yeah, he's back up front. And you see in the second moto, the track dries out quite a bit. A lot of rocks flying in this side of the valley of the racetrack. There's a lot more rocks than the other part. They run through some grass and a little bit more loam on the other side. Those rocks will come up and bite you, and they don't feel good when you get hit by one either.
That's why you got to wear those chest protectors.
Well, on a day this hot, you'll see that a lot of riders choose not to wear one. And here's that corner that's been giving Emig problems. You see Jeremy ducking in it. They lean their body into the corner and keep the bike straight up and down, and that's why they smack their shoulder on the tree. That's the only way they can keep the bike in that rut.
Plus, you have to slow way down, don't you?
Well, you can go to the outside, but that berm is a lot softer and it gets pushed wide. So, once you get stuck out there, you end up running a little wider than you mean to go, and you just lose too much time. So it's better to just poke around the inside.
We saw Greg Albertine is in 3rd position. Damon Bradshaw is in 4th. And I still stand by my prediction. Second half, oh, look at that problem with Albertine. Got it crossed up coming off the jump, and he's lucky he didn't tumble off of that one.
Well, Bradshaw is right there, ready to make a move. He's close enough now. If he'd have been this close when Albertine made that mistake, he might have been able to make a pass. Right there, you see coming out of the corner, Bradshaw just taking a face full of rocks and dirt, and in the air there, he already pulled a tearaway.
Well, there's Jeff Emig out in front, having no problems with getting roosted by anyone at the moment.
Well, it's a little bit dustier this moto, and it's not anything wrong with the way they prepared the track. It's just that dry, and it's almost impossible to keep the dust down. So it's for LaRocco now, who's got to come from dead last. You can bet that he's not even going to be able to see where he's going on these first laps until everyone gets sorted out.
There's the green flag. First lap is complete. Already Emig put a little bit of distance on Jeremy Mcgrath, and it looks like Albertine is catching Mcgrath.
Yeah, I'm surprised in that just that last quarter of a lap or so, Bradshaw lost a lot of time. So he must have made a mistake somewhere, overshot a berm. And it'd be interesting to see if he can catch back up. If he can, then I know he's on a good pace.
Well, I still think, like I said earlier, Damon's second half, probably the last 4 events, is going to be really strong.
Well, he's a threat no matter when or where or what size bike or if it's raining. Doesn't matter what. This kid can win any moto, and I think that's what a lot of riders fear in him. And right now, I think he's doing pretty good. I mean, he's been out for so long. There's so much to learn. The bikes are completely different since he rode last. So he's, I think he and LaRocca are in the same position. Neither one of them really have anything to prove this year, only just to themselves, because, they're completely out of the points chase. And, they can go out and try to ride good. If things don't go perfect, like what we saw happen to Bradshaw last week in Southwick, he'll just pull off and just try to get through the day without making a mistake.
Well, speaking of pulling off right there, Larry Ward experiencing a problem. Larry with a great Supercross season, finished second overall to Jeremy McGrath, but the outdoors have not been that kind. In fact, his best finish was a 5th at Gainesville in the first race of the year.
Yeah, he's just gone downhill from there. And Bradshaw, that's the berm I was talking about in the second moto. Those things get deeper and choppy, and Bradshaw right there paying the price.
We're nearing the midway point of Moto number 2. Take a look at our Honda Field summary. Back with more in a moment. ESPN Speed World welcomes you back to Redbud Track and Trail, Buchanan, Michigan. Jeremy McGrath riding along in the second spot behind Jeff Emig. Now, David, we saw at the beginning that Emig had a problem in practice. Also, a slight mechanical problem for Jeremy. The bike wasn't running quite up to snuff, and so Skip Norfolk did some work on it before the start of Moto 1. Apparently, got it tuned in pretty well.
Well, I'd say so. He got the whole shot in the first moto, and Emig, who had to use a different engine completely, was second place in the first moto off the line, and got the whole shot in the second moto. So those bikes are running good.
There's Kudrowski trying to make the move on John Dowd as he just out horsepowers him into the turn. Dowd tries to cut it off and follows that run. Almost had him for a moment, but Kudrowski takes over that spot.
Well, it's the same place we saw Albertine make a move earlier in the race, threading the needle. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of room between Dowd and that stack of tires, and Kudrowski just muscles his way through.
Dowd tries the outside line there, but he actually lost some ground, it looked like, although he did get a pretty good run at that jump and made up some distance in the air. But Kudrowski has moved around John Dowd to take over that spot.
Well, it was important for him to get around him right there, because that portion of the track they're getting into right now is a little bit more one line, and if Dowd's holding him up, then he's got to wait till the end of that section before he can make a move.
Well, it looks like Jeremy McGrath might be trying to reel in Jeff Emig. Is he thinking victory here in Moto number 2 for a clean sweep?
You can bet he is. He's always thinking that.
Thank you, Ben and Skip. There's Greg Albertine. Albie having a pretty decent ride today.
And look at those sleeves on his jersey. He's cut him off way up, halfway up his forearm. That's one of his trademarks. A lot of guys were starting to do that. Ron Lachine was one of the first guys I saw. Actually, Bob Hanna used to stretch his so far. They looked like that. And these guys are starting to tailor their jerseys quite a bit, especially in this heat. But as you can see from Albertine there, he is electing to use a chest protector to protect him from that roost.
So what, do you cut the sleeves off there? You get a little more air up under, under
yeah, I think it's kind of a psychological thing too. You always hear the term arm pump. And if you've got a sleeve that's a little tight or a cuff that's tight on your wrist, then psychologically that messes with you a little bit. You think that might be a contributing factor, and also it just lets a little more air in there.
Well, we are just past the midway point of Moto number 2. You get a good look at the top 10 on our Honda Field summary. We'll be right back. We are back at Buchanan, Michigan, Redbud Track and Trail. Damon Bradshaw having an excellent ride here. I'm sure the fans are really appreciating it.
You know, it's pretty impressive that Damon can come back and beat guys like Kudrowski, and actually he's beaten everybody. If I think about it, I think maybe the only guy he hasn't actually beaten in a moto would be Doug Henry, and it's pretty impressive.
Right now he's in front of Kudrowski. Remember, LaRocca, off to that terrible start, crashed at the starting gate after finishing second in the first moto. Up front, Jeff Emig, a little air time. You see him take that tearaway off. He's still being pursued by Jeremy McGrath for the point. There you saw the red fenders of Jeremy's bike flashing through the frame.
Well, Jeremy will he'll catch up to Jeff a little bit, make a run at him, and then he'll get roosted and hit by a few rocks, and then he'll drop back to about where he is right now. And I don't know, this kind of a track, as we mentioned earlier, it's a little bit faster, doesn't get quite as rough as some of the other ones, and everyone pretty much goes the same speed. Looks like whoever gets the whole shot is pretty much going to go all the way to the end.
Well, these two guys look like they'll take the points battle all the way to the end. Jeremy McGrath's riding second. He's in the points lead, and earlier this weekend we talked to him about that.
Well, I mean, like you said, we're halfway through the series. I have an 11-point lead. I had 13 points last week. Jeff and I seem to be trading spots here every week, but this is Redbud track is known to be, you know, his domination point, and I'm going to try and stop that this year. I mean, my heart's really into it, and I want to win badly, and I think I have a whole new attitude when I come to the track now and when I'm on the track. So hopefully I can stop the the streak that he's got going here and pick up some fans.
The other guys are just a little bit further behind, but I think I think both me and Jeremy, I think that we're working really hard towards this. I know that it's something that I'd like to win, and I think that he does too. And I mean, I don't expect anything less than a good race. Every time I go out, I mean, I don't expect anything less than a battle. And but as the sign says, we are in Mcgrath, and I'm going to give the fans what they came to see.
Well, he's certainly doing that right now as he is in first place at the point. A nice little jump there. Mcgrath.
I don't know if we can say Mcgrath or not. I saw a sign in the trees earlier that said LaRocco for president. But either way, he likes this track. He's done well here in the past, and it shows.
Well, last year on a 125, he took first overall, and it was a clean sweep on both motos.
Right. Well, I think he just likes this hard-packed soil and this fast type of racetrack with jumps. He's a great jumper. He likes riding the hard-packed stuff and sliding it around. And same as Kudrowski, who's done well here in the past, but right now unable to get around Bradshaw.
Well, of course, Kudrowski, as we saw in the Flashback, the Suzuki Flashback, he was the overall winner last year, finished second in the first moto, and then won the second moto to win it in a tiebreaker over his teammate Mike LaRocco.
I don't think he's gotten the starts today that he needs to go up there and battle with the leaders. Sometimes, if the leaders are just out of your sights, it's just really tough to get the motivation and the drive to go up there and catch them and run with them. They're just so far ahead, and it is getting a little drier in the second moto, and that dust may be playing a little part.
Well, we've talked about Damon Bradshaw and his comeback trail last week at Southwick, 40th and a 9th for a 13th overall. That wasn't very good for him, but he's looking pretty good today in the top 5.
Well, the 40th really, I mean, he didn't ride to a 40th. There's Bob Oliver, that's Damon's mechanic, looking on. There's not really any frustration or any emotion there. Just, I think it's just a learning year for Damon. Just come back out, put in your time, and don't do anything weird and get hurt. It's the last thing he needs right now, and just try to get strong for the next season. Endurance is going to take a little while to come.
Well, I think with his age, after this year, he's probably got a couple of good years in front of him. Let's take a look at the top 10 on our Honda Field Summary. Back with the finish after this. Welcome back to Buchanan, Michigan. We are in the closing stages of Moto number 2 and going a little further back in the pack to the privateer guys, Todd DeHoop, and that's Phil Lawrence behind him. A couple of guys battling it out, David, for something that Skoll and Camel have put up for the top privateer. It's a $500 award for the winner of that, and that really helps these guys pay the bills.
Sure, these guys don't get that nice $100,000 bonus every time they win a championship, and for the factory riders, there's $5,000 and $10,000 bonuses for moto wins and national victories, and this that Skoll and Camel has done has really helped these guys get around the country and do what they love to do.
Now, early on in your career, were you ever in a similar position?
Oh, I was a privateer, and I struggled. There was a time when I thought maybe I'll just quit because I had radar for any kind of pileup or chain coming off or any of that stuff. In fact, one of my first national races was here at Redbud, and I was winning my qualifier, and that just quit. I got, it was a muddy race, and there goes Lawrence by DeHoop right now. These guys are having a good battle. And it's kind of funny, I might want to point out that Phil Lawrence's nickname is Factory Phil.
That's right, Factory Phil, and last week I said we should call him Independent Phil. Of course, as an independent, you need a lot of support, not only financially, but from your friends and family. And for more on that, here's Art Effman.
Getting started in motocross is truly a family affair. Michigan native Todd DeHoop has been coming to the Redbud Track and Trail since he was 5 years old. It was Mom and Dad that made it all possible.
It meant going to the races, packing all our clothes and packing all our food and coming here for a picnic and racing and friends and just getting together with the people we love.
I think back in the old days we used to come here and it was a complete weekend. We got here this morning and it's Sunday morning. Back in the old days we used to get here on a Friday night, camp out on the Friday night, and then we had race Saturday, and everybody got together, the Stanton family and LaRocco's and just a whole bunch of people that we all raced together then. So we'd have the campfire at night and then look forward to the next day watching the big guys. Of course, our kids had their favorites, you know, their heroes, so that was kind of neat. They all root for their heroes. I know Todd's hero was Magoo, you know, riding a Mako back then. And he used to show off in style, and so that was his hero. But I think the biggest difference was on Friday night and Saturday night, we used to race till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on the night track, and then afterwards the dads would party a little bit and try to get up Sunday morning to watch the big guys. And I think the crowds now are a little milder than what they used to be.
DeHoop, a past 125 Eastern champion, is now in the Honda of Troy camp. He recalls those early years being awed by the big factory teams.
When I came and I saw all these big trucks and all the people, I was just like, man, what is going on? And then we got to see the race, and I couldn't believe how fast those guys would go. And now I'm one of them, so it's like it's fun to think that, you know, there's people out there watching me thinking the same thing, and just it amazes me.
Of course, without those guys, there's the white flag for Jeff Emig as he is pulled way out on Jeremy McGrath. But back to the independents, without those guys, David, we'd only have, what, 10 bikes out here on a Sunday afternoon?
That's it. And the teams like Honda of Troy and Nolene and Pro Circuit, who kind of started that, I think, that's really helped the privateers to lift their efforts a notch with having pretty competitive equipment.
Well, Jeff Emig, nobody's been able to be very competitive with him today. Jeremy McGrath to an extent, but he just never could get around him. So Jeremy has kind of settled into his own pace, going ahead to allow, I guess, or is that a good word to use? He's going to allow Emig to win Moto number 2.
Well, he knows even though he's going to pick up the overall win, and he's going to put a couple points on Emig. So, yeah, if he can't catch him, it's not a disaster.
But there's Albertine as he's coming along right behind Jeremy McGrath. So Jeremy may have to worry about Albertine, and I also think Damon Bradshaw was in there in the 4th spot.
That's right. Well, that's the danger of not riding aggressive the whole race. That was one thing that Hannah was always good at, and especially Rick Johnson, that I learned from him. That when you ride aggressive the whole time, you just can never count a guy out. And as soon as you start relaxing just a little bit, like possibly Jeremy did in the first moto, and these guys caught him, if he'd have relaxed a little more, he may not have won that moto, and now he's under attack from Albertine.
Yeah, but I don't think Albertine's got the time. Jeremy's going to have to make a mistake for Albertine to catch him. He's still a good 2.5, 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, but the problem is that when you slow down just a little bit, you give Albertine that inspiration, and he goes a little bit harder, and then you got more problems.
Well, no problems up front right now for Jeff Emig. Emigland, of course, on the 125 last year, he went 1-1. And there you see he's got some fans here, quite a few fans cheering him on the final lap. Jeff Emig trying to pick up his 3rd moto victory. Look at the styling, lays it out, hand up in the air as he waves to the crowd.
Now, one thing we won't see this week is a knack-knack. Emigland, he's ruled and taken over that spot with his own antics, and he's not that far from the finish line, and he's got to be happy with this win.
Oh, you know he's smiling, a big smile, and listen to the crowd. You can hear him cheering him around all the way around this track. There you see leaning over the fence now. He looks over his shoulder. Where are you, Jeremy? Oh, I got you. It's mine. Jeff Emig, it looks like, is on his way to the checkered flag. Both hands off the handlebars, as does Jeremy McGrath. Emig, the winner, McGrath, finishes 2nd. You think he was making fun of Emig there for a moment?
Oh, maybe. McGrath is a pretty sarcastic character and a little cynical as well.
There you get a look at the top 5 as Moto number 2 results are posted. Then 6 through 10. Art Ekman is downstairs talking to our Moto 2 winner, Jeff Emig.
Well, Jeff, you two are making a great points battle out of this thing, and especially adding to the mystique here with both winning motos.
Yeah, I guess the only bad thing is I lost a couple of points there, but but on the other hand, I picked some back up there in the 2nd moto. I just not real happy with my ride this weekend. I think that I could have rode a whole lot better, especially that first moto.
Well, you kept a string alive of moto victories, though, here at this very familiar course.
Yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit disappointed that I didn't win the overall. I guess I'll have to, make it up at some of the other tracks. But, I mean, all in all, it feels good, to win a moto again. And, we was all right there the first moto. It was just basically who gave it the most at the beginning. And I guess that's why I ended up 3rd. But
taking a look at the overall results, Jeremy McGrath followed by Jeff Emig. So Jeff only loses 3 points in the battle for the national championship. And as you look at the rest of the top 10, Phil Lawrence with 10th. Art is with Jeremy.
Jeremy, another great overall victory. And with the competition that the way it is today, it's pretty tough to hold on and win every moto.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't get Emig started right in front of me. It's kind of duplicate of the first moto, except for he hole shot it in. I was trying to ride my best, and this track just got really one line, and I mean, I got close up on him, then I'd mess up and fall behind, then I closed back up, and overall I felt like I had a pretty good race today.
Then you got a challenge from Albertine right there toward the end until Albertine messed up a little bit.
Yeah, he was coming on strong. I could hear his bike coming, so it was pretty good. I wasn't going to let anyone by me for sure. I knew that I had the overall, and I sure wanted to stay in second.
Well, I think I need to correct myself as Mcgrath now leads by 13 points. I think I would have had him at 15 by picking up 3 points. But Emig is still close enough to make a bid for the championship.
That's good news for Emig. And no one's really been close enough to ever challenge Jeremy, but he's in that position now.
For Art Ekman and David Bailey, I'm John Kernan saying so long, everybody.